Why is it so hard to find employees right now? Good grief. Hey, it's Scott Beebe with Business on Purpose. As always, make sure to check us out at mybusinessonpurpose.com. We've got a lot of resources there for you. Also, our podcast, the YouTube channel. We're all over these channels as best we can. We sat down for an impromptu happy hour last week with a handful of our local clients. We were all seated on a side deck of our office, and the topic we thought was most relevant that we brought up was how do we manage material delays and price increases? And of course, after some big wins, we always start meetups with big wins. We then lobbed the topic for discussion. But within 5 minutes, all of our business owner clients were knee-deep in a conversation about a different challenge. Employees. That's right. It all had migrated to the challenge of employees. We started to slowly guide them back to our selected topic. And again, within another 5 minutes, they were shifted back to a deep discussion about employees. It's true. The number one challenge most business owners deal with are employees. Go out to eat and you'll feel what it's like for a small business to not have enough employees. Business owners are having to go to new heights to find and to keep employees. The common thought is because in a governmental extension, at least here in America, of an unemployment benefits, that's what's leading to a lack of motivation for people to get back to work. That might be true, but I also believe there are other bigger reasons. The pandemic pushed a significant amount of employable people back to the idea of remote work. I can think of a few people in my own social circles, you probably can too, who have moved to a remote work idea exclusively. But the reality is it's hard to tend the bar remotely. It's hard to manufacture plastics remotely. It's hard to sort produce remotely, load trucks, stock shelves. Is it that people want to work remote, or, let's ask another question, is it that they just want to work somewhere they enjoy and they think that remote work would be more enjoyable than working at a physical location? According to the website greatplacestowork.com, 84% of employees at the Container Store, say it's a great place to work compared to 59% of employees at a typical U.S.-based company. Listen, the Container Store, I'm not knocking on it. It's just a collection of physical retail and warehouse locations that require primarily in-person job opportunities. In fact, most of your day is spent with customer service or putting away organizational tools or actually building them. Somebody I saw in an online review said, if you don't like to put things together, then don't go to work at the Container Store. So how is it that the Container Store has such a high satisfaction but offers very little remote opportunity? It can't be the product. Plenty of other retailers sell organizational products. The Container Store has a remarkable culture of communication. You can actually see it played out in their unique blog, standfor.containerstore.com. In fact, I've got a snapshot. If you're on the YouTube or on the Facebook Live, you can see it. One of the 7 foundational principles that they actually have laid out as their core values, what we would call in the Container Store, is communication is leadership. It's one of their foundational principles. Communication is leadership. In other words, when you communicate, you are leading. But we have to assume that the inverse is also true. When you do not communicate, you are not leading. Hey, before you write off my statement, the culture of communication idea is cliche. Just stop for a second. And here's the question that I've got for you. My question is, as you're looking for employees, how have you communicated the job opportunities that you have? How have you communicated the job opportunities that you have? Typically, an owner will simply say, well, I'll go post an ad to see if we can find somebody, right? We just throw it out there. And when they do find a couple of random people, they're fast-tracked through a half-baked hiring process and then wonder why in 6 months, you as the owner, you're ready to get rid of that new employee. So before you try to go find the right person or the right people, here are 4 pieces of communication you can set in place to lead through your own communication. The first thing you can do is actually shoot a video explaining your mission and values. Explain in your own words, in your own tone, not corporate speak, how you integrate your mission in your day-to-day. Also, walk through and demonstrate how you actually use your core values in decision making. I do have to say, this assumes that you have both core values and a mission statement that you use. If you don't have those, well, obviously you know where to start. The second thing you can do is to write a letter explaining exactly what you're looking for and what you're not looking for. This letter will accompany your job description, but it's got to be written in your voice, in a human voice. And so I thought I'd give you an example of the opening section of a letter we wrote to accompany a recent hiring job description. It says this: we're hiring a marketing and strategy campaign manager because we can't accomplish our mission to liberate business owners from chaos without one. We need someone to wake up every workday and ask, how can I use all the amazing BOP tools and talent? How can I use the right available digital tools? And how can I use the right invitation tools to get 100 people each week into the BOP train station so they can have the opportunity to be liberated from chaos? We believe that business owners can have a great business and a great life. The best way to have them make time for what matters most is to liberate them from the chaos that distracts them. And that's where you come in. And then the letter continues on. But I think you can see it's written in my voice. That's how I would talk. So write a letter in your own voice and put it out there for them to see. The third thing you can do is to actually write a job description that actually walks through the details of the job. Scrap the corporate nonsense that fills most job descriptions with words like self-starter or detail-oriented. Listen, based on the DISC profile, approximately 86% of the world has a passive personality, those C and S personalities. They need a catalyst to help them get started on something. So that idea of self-starter doesn't really apply. Only 14% of people are active personalities, the D and the I, who would actually have strong capabilities to be self-starters. So let's stop using that word as a broad scope for everybody. Also, only about 17% of the population has a predisposition to a high level of detail, that C personality. And yet we tell everybody we want them to be detail-oriented. Tell us what the job actually is. Cut the corporate speak and write so humans can read it and humans can understand it. You'll have a better opportunity to get humans who actually want to do the work that you're offering. Finally, publish all your communication so everyone can see it. Post it everywhere. Have a dedicated page on your website to all of the tools mentioned above with a specific URL that can be shared across your media platforms. For instance, like a yourwebsite.com/now hiring. This page will host your video, it'll host your letter, it'll host your job description and the process for hiring so it's transparent and available. There's an old phrase that says, you have not because you ask not. The same is true for finding employees. You have not because you're asking not. Start asking out loud. Communicate, and you'll begin leading people to be a part of the intentional culture you're building. I want this to stick out. There's only one kind of culture that happens accidentally, and it's not a culture you want, although most businesses opt for it. Your other option is to find the right employees by communicating the right message, and you can start leading before they're your employees. Make sure to go check us out at mybusinessonpurpose.com. We've got tons of tools and resources there to serve you, and you can also find out ways where we can work together so that you can be liberated from the chaos of working in your business and make time for what matters most.